loveys, how are we tonight? It is a Thursday, August 22nd, 2024, and we are having a Thursday night special with a guest who is near and dear to my heart. And before we get going, I just kind of wanted to have a bit of a talk with everyone. And this is addressing some online, specifically on Twitter today. I have received multiple threats from individuals stating that I will be sued for defamation, for even having my guest on tonight. And to that, I would like to say the following: that as long as I have breath in my body, as long as there is an injustice that I see, and specifically in the Commonwealth versus Karen Read trial and this horrific tragedy that has occurred in the Commonwealth, I will continue to stand up. I will continue to use my voice and I will not be silenced, basically. So to anyone out there, if you think you want to mass report me for any reason whatsoever, I will then stream this on TikTok, because me and my guest are not going anywhere. And without further ado, my guest is the incomparable retired DEA agent, Sean McDonough. He is an American hero, my friends. He not only received the DEA Administrative Award for Valor, he also received the United States Attorney General's Award for Excellence in Law Enforcement. And he was also inducted into the Westfield State Criminal Justice Hall of Fame. And here he is, the one, the only Mr. Sean McDonough.
Hey, Kim.
Hey, Sean.
How you doing tonight?
I'm great, my friend. How are you?
Before we start, any echoes? We have enough volume? We're good? We good tonight, I hope?
We are, right? You sound
Very
perfect to me. How we doing, chat?
I think we're doing fine, right? Look at that.
Yes.
Beautiful. Love it.
I
love seeing your chat, because all the same names that I don't get to see them when I'm doing my own show, which is great. I actually love being in this side of the seat, man. It's so good. So, but Kim, before I get too far, I want to thank you so much. All right, for picking up, doing what you're doing, right? And you're not only working the TikTok, you're working with Dave, which I think is awesome. And I love that combination. And I love the fact that you have this platform also on YouTube. And I'm very happy to be here to spend some time and talk in front of all these people. It's beautiful.
Yeah, well, we're just like, it's just like it's us, Sean, and then it's all of our best friends from out of town, This is what we do. So I am like thrilled that you had the time and the opportunity to come on with me tonight, Sean. You are basically the person. I had a TikTok account, right? In January, February, March, I was talking about the Karen Read trial, the upcoming, we were doing pre-trial stuff, but I got an opportunity to see that you were having the medical professionals show. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. I figured I would just give you, I wanted to say, hey, Sean, this is what I think. And when you asked me onto the show, it has kind of changed the trajectory of where I've gone. And you have been such a supporter and such a friend this entire time that I can't thank you enough.
Well, Kim, I mean, let's face it. I was enthralled. I was so excited that you did reach out, because having all of you people on was incredible. I thought that was one of the best shows. I mean, there's been a lot, like Joan was a good show, and Peter, but having the nurses, right, who actually know how it's done in the ER. What do you guys call it? The ED?
Yep. Emergency department. Yep.
All right. ED. All right. So anyways, but I thought that was a fantastic show. Everyone like Mary and I'm going to call her Zelda. I can't
Zelda.
believe I'm going to call her Zelda. I forgot the poor girl from Austria's name, but poor Zelda and Mary and yourself. It was such a great show to have, and it gave a great perspective on everything. So, and here we are.
And here we are. And you know what else was great about that show too, Sean, was that you were so smart. Like, again, here's your natural kind of inclination of how you do so well. You got a psych nurse, an emergency room nurse, and a wound nurse. Like, and you pulled all of that together in it. I just thought it was amazing. I was so thrilled to be a part of it. But for your foresight to say, like, hey, this is who would be cool, like, I just was heavily impressed by everyone and all of those professionals.
Well, thank you, Kim. Listen, we were in a period of downtime, and I said, come on, it's time to think outside the box, right? We can only speculate so much. So I said, okay, get these medical professions on. Think about the psyche, all right? And then, I had another Chrissy. I just remember Chrissy talking about MS, and I learned so much about the MS situation in Karen. I'll never forget this. And, Chrissy gave it up. She said, my daughter came to me. Did you really want to say that, Mom? And she says, what did I say? Because in her mind, she said, I want a glass of milk. She says, get me a glass of white water. And when you have these mofos out there at 6:05 in the morning saying that Karen is saying all these crazy stuff, well, guess what? That goes with the territory.
Yeah.
And, we need to bring awareness of everything from the medical profession, from the law enforcement profession, from the disease side of this whole thing, And so anyways, I just wanted to give some out of the box type messaging to get out there. Yeah. And I thought it was excellent. I thought you did a great, Mary. Poor Kendra. And, saw today, I felt horrible for poor Mary. Mary goes, someone asked Mary if Kendra was her granddaughter or something like that, or daughter. Oh my God, Mary's beautiful. But Kendra goes, yes, I love you so much.
That is such a compliment.
They're
Mary
cousins,
probably was.
They're cousins,
But punching the screen.
we are a great, we're a great community. And when I saw that today, and I'll like, yourself, right? Last night, it was an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, and it was deep, right?
Yeah.
I'm going straight for the juggler. I said this tonight again to a buddy of mine. There's two ways for me, right? It's either sink or swim. And I come out a hero, or I go down and I swim with the fishes. I know what I'm talking about.
Yes, you do.
These other half-asses can do what they want. And that fool, what's her name? Andy Dufresne, Kim Flair. You know what she says? They're coming, Sean. The suit's coming. You know what it is, Kim? And I hit her. I said, oh, so the McAlberts, they really don't think they have a case, because if they had a case, they'd sue me now, or they'd sue Turtle Boy, or they'd sue anyone else, right? But she says, whoa, when Karen is convicted, why does that happen? If, she said, because of all the things you said, that's not a defamation suit, all right?
Right.
If you got it, bring it. Bring it right now.
Wow.
So you know why they can't do it? Because I get to depose. Turtle Boy gets to depose, like everything. I get to get big, fat ass Brian Albert in front of me. I'm going to look him straight in the eye and say, okay, Brian, let's talk about this. I get to get Colin Albert. They don't know half the shit I have, right? I get all of Jamaica on speed dial. I can bring it up just like that. They can't do it. They won't do it, even if it doesn't matter, all right? It doesn't matter. Karen is never getting convicted. So, Kim Flair, whatever your name is, go back to the woods where you come from. I don't know where you're up in the North Shore somewhere. Go back in the woods. You're done.
Any relation to Ric Flair?
Yes. What's he do? Whatever his
what was it like?
Is.
Yeah. Of course, he did something that was he was a
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kim Flair. So I asked her. I said, Kim, listen. I said, how old are you, by the way? Serious? I was serious. And she says, don't you know, you're going to love this. She goes, don't you know you're never supposed to ask a lady her age? Did your mother never teach you anything? I say, she did, Kim, but I just want to know how much you paid for all that plastic surgery, because I want to know if it was worth it for you. I said, your fucking lips, you're going to be, I hope they tether you, because if I want to know your age, because maybe you can give your plastic surgeon a plug. I know I'm going to get shit from the ladies, but hey, listen, you want to come at me, you're going to get it right back at you. So come on at me, Kimmy. I call her Kimmy now. She's a new friend of mine, Kimmy.
Oh, there we go. Well, listen, and we don't like to, just because of ladies, any ladies who want to get your lips done or get anything done, we support whatever makes you feel confident.
Right.
But if you are attacking people, sometimes they attack us back. I don't even attack anyone, and I get attacked about how I look every day.
Do you know why, Kim? Because they have nothing. Listen, I say this all the time. The playbook's out. The Commonwealth right now, right?
Yeah.
We know the playbook. They can't change it. They cannot change it. They can change the actors. They can get a new Trooper Paul, which I highly suggest, right? They're going to have to find 3 investigators, because Proctor's gone. Yuri's probably gone. Tully's probably gone. Who are they going to have? Wow. Garino's probably gone. That's the bottom line. They have nothing. It's over for them. They know it.
Yeah, I agree. So, basically, Sean, we talked about, or I think that it's appropriate for us to talk about, what did you think, or if you addressed it on your show, I apologize, I didn't see that part, of the 8, the last hearing, right? We're waiting for Judge Cannoni. And what is your feeling? The longer we wait, the better we look, or is it going to be a denial, in your opinion?
Listen, you have a caliber attorney like Marty Weinberg. He's top shelf, all right? He's like that aged Scotch, right? 10 times better than Johnny Walker Blue, right? He comes in, look at his demeanor, right? He's got the hair in the back going from the 70s and 80s. I used to wear my hair like that. And,
a little duck-tail.
No, he comes in, right? Nice spoken. I think Judge Bev was a little smitten, because you don't get high quality guys like that at state court. Marty's a big federal defense attorney, right? And he's right in there with one of the greatest cases of our time. And I thought he did absolutely incredible job. All right. And so what do I feel? All right. If it was a first year graduate student out of law, right? Out of law school, I'd feel the same way. Judge Bev has to at least interview all 12 of those jurors to get to the truth. I don't care what law there is. I don't care what she feels. All right. It's not about what she feels. It's what the Constitution, right, dictates, all right, for our system of justice, right? If Karen Reed was found not guilty by a jury of her peers on counts 1 and 3, they have to announce that there's been an acquittal on those 2 charges. That is the fair thing to do. That's the only thing that Judge Bev needs to do. And she can do it nice and quiet. Go up to the hotel off of Route 1 there in 95. There's all kinds of hotels up there, right? Outside of Dedham. You get a banquet room, get them all there. You get the court reporter, you get Jim, what's his name? You get the defense, you get Lally, you get her, and you get them on the record. And then she has to make a decision, because that's the right thing. I guarantee all those jurors were confused. And one of them said it. We thought we had to be unanimous on all the charges, right? Well, guess what? That is definitely a misinterpretation on their part. They're supposed to be guided. Think about it, Kim. You go into the jury room. You don't who teaches you how to be an attorney? I mean, a juror.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. And if you thought you had to go through all the charges and come out all the charges either not guilty or guilty, well, that's wrong, because if they got 2 out of 3 not guilty, those charges are done, and that's the only ethical. I'm talking about ethical. I don't care about, whatever type of mass law there is to say, oh no, if
Precedents.
they didn't
Yeah.
come back, whatever. It's the ethical thing to do. And I'll tell you right now, let Marty Weinberg go up to the Supreme Judicial Court in Massachusetts. Just let him. He'll tear Auntie Bev apart.
Yeah,
Bev,
such
do the
a
right
seasoned
thing.
pro.
Do the right thing, because the bottom line is Karen is never going to be convicted. So just get those things off the chart. Get them off the books. It's over with. And then do what you got to do. You're not going to have any investigators left. It's all over. They're doing themselves. That's the crazy thing. Josh Levy doesn't have to do anything with those guys. They're doing themselves. Now, the real killers, and I made that statement last night, Kim, and other nights, all right, I don't care about the state case anymore. I'm looking directly at Brian Albert. Brian Albert is my main focus right now. Brian, your house, your invite.
Yeah.
You are the only one, because guess what? I've got my gut, my instinct, and the federal government behind me. And I was 28 years with those bad boys.
I know.
You are the guy. The federal government said Karen did not hit John with that car. That leaves only you, mofo. You are it from this day forward with me. And that's it. And I'm going to light him up. I'm going to light him up like I'm going to light him up tonight. That should have been done 25, 26 years ago when they had the opportunity. Because if they did, and if they put the spotlight on him, John would be alive today. John would be with his nephew right now going to a baseball game. John would be with his niece, helping her do whatever the hell these kids do at this age. Karen would not be going through this friggin' nightmare. And I was so happy today that there's one friggin' honest Boston cop that had the foresight to bring this to the table. And I'm so happy. And, I said last night, I said, all I got on this mofo is beating up a bunch of cops. And he's hitting on their wives and their girlfriends. We're the friggin' normal citizens. And bam, within hours, I got this letter. It was like divine intervention. And this is where Karen Reed is going to do cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. She's going to hit super chats for the rest of her life. I'm telling you. So.
Well, Sean, I look at you and I can see that you're getting that this is making you emotional to even talk about it. I'm gonna tell you right now. Sometimes I was gonna call you Karen. Sometimes, Kim, I get welled up in my because I hate being in this fucking chair. I hate being in this chair, Kim, because that means I have to attack the friggin' career path I had for 35 years of my life. All right. I got bruised. I got shot at. I did everything. Cut up, hit over heads with hammers when I was a bouncer down in DC. Everything, the whole thing, right? The whole gambit. And I got to sit in this chair, right? And listen, it's not easy, right? I'm out here by myself, right? I know.
I started, and guess what? You know why? Because I knew this was wrong from Jump Street. I knew it. And now my gut, my intuition, and the little knowledge that I have from great sources tells me Brian Albert and Brian Higgins are going down big time on this. And anyone else in that path who was there that night, and you know who you are, you're going down too. And I don't care. I don't care about taillights. I don't care about snow. I don't care about the Canton cops. I don't care about Proctor. To me, right now, you had 9 weeks, you failed. You couldn't convict Karen. And this is what I love. You know how I shut these trolls up? Like Braden Connie, what's his name now? Caden Braden, whatever his name is. Hey, Braden. Alan Jackson was so confident, right, that no one was going to convict his client. He put on 6 witnesses, you mofo. 6, and you still couldn't get a conviction. What an embarrassment. To all you trolls, you guys bought the big lie. And the head mofo troll of them all, right? He's impersonating as a YouTube guy, but he's actually a troll. and that's Kevin Lenahan. And I was so happy to see him on your show. You showed great restraint, Kim. I saw your facial expressions. I knew it, right?
Sorry.
And let's
Yeah.
face it, Kevin is like, he wants to come on as like, one of those old uncles you have. You say, oh, he's coming over for Thanksgiving, and what's he going to say? He says he's a libertarian. He's a full-blown lib. Let's face it. He doesn't know shit. He doesn't know nothing about the law. And he tries to pretend he does. You know what happened to Kevin? If you watch my new intro, right? Although I have another one. But I've John Como gave me another one. So one will be an intro, one will be an outro. But I got to tell you, if you watch my intro from last night, it shows the famous meltdown that this nerd, this mofo lib had banging out Turtle Boy and the Riders. And it was right there. I loved it. And I just redirected him. And I said, that's it. That's right. So anyways, listen, I have enjoyed every minute since last April of what I've been doing, because I know, and I knew in my heart, that Karen Reed would never be convicted. So there's one. If it was a normal DA, like a real, honest to God, real DA, and they didn't have to fabricate and frame Karen, no one would have taken this case. I've talked to so many lawyers, so many regular, non-prosecutors, like regular lawyers, right?
Yeah.
Have said, are you kidding me? No way. Absolutely. We wouldn't touch this with anything. So they can all say what they want. That's the bottom line.
You know what was interesting when we had him on Monday night, Sean? So, I thought it was a good idea emotionally, right? Like Dave reached out. He said yes that same day. It was about an hour and a half, 2 hours before showtime. And I wanted to always have a civil conversation. We could have gone down a rabbit hole for 10 hours and, for what? So the only thing that I wanted to correct, and I know that you had things that you wanted to correct as well, but for me, when he stated that the Canton Police Department had collected the blood in the solo cups for the first initial between 6 and 8 o'clock in the morning,
right,
on January 29th, 2022. He said that the only reason that the Canton Police Department had collected that blood was because it was possible that it was another person's blood, someone else's blood.
Absolutely. They knew
but
that.
Yet he said, Sean, that there was no probable cause to go in that house.
Well,
how are we working on the same time? Are we in the same timeline together? I don't understand. If you collected blood with an obvious thought that it could have belonged to someone else,
right,
where that blood was never tested, it was thrown out. Mass State Police, their forensic, we know Maureen Hartnett, she's a gem, and doesn't know human hair, had to go through her own remediation. But that is very telling to me. So if you thought one thing but didn't have any sort of follow through, to me, that feels as though, just saying, that this was already getting into be what it was going to be, already had been planned out at that time.
No, you're very wise, Kim, very intelligent. Of course there was probable cause. Take it from a guy who's I have written affidavits based on probable cause. I know what probable cause is, right? You don't need proof beyond a reasonable doubt. You need 51% certainty. That's it. A reasonable 51%, right? Think about this, right? Any cop that came up to see John in that condition with no coat on, right? One shoe off, right? Can't find anything, right?
Yeah.
And didn't look at that house, right? And by virtue of the fact that Brian Albert, big bad Brian Albert, sitting there behind the curtains, watching out, right? Looking out, right? Knowing what was going on, right? No dog barking. They knew, right?
Yeah.
I believe the cops all knew. When that lard ass Sarif heard allegedly heard Karen say, it's all my fault. It's all my fault. He was duty bound to detain her. If all these other mofos out there heard Karen say, like they say, allegedly, I did it. I did it. I did it. They were, it's like, how are these people trained?
Right.
This is before, this is on the scene. John is still there. They're working on, allegedly, she's saying, I did it. I did it. Did I do it? I don't know if I did it. Guess what, pal? You didn't do your job. You immediately take her to the station and work it out. Imagine the two things they should have done. And this would have turned the whole thing around. I love how you said about if you found one piece of taillight that day, that morning, I'd have no leg to stand on. Imagine if they detained Karen right then and there based on her statements, which they had more than probable cause to do. She made a spontaneous utterance against her interests, right? She made it. She made that statement. And had they seized the car immediately, whether or not it was a hit and run or whether or not it was an assault, there was evidence to be collected on that car. Imagine if they did those two things. This whole thing would be gone. They'd have no evidence. They wouldn't be able to prove that Karen hit John because the taillight, right, would have shown a crack. There would have been no taillight pieces found at the scene. This would have been done. And that's why I'm telling you right now, you guys can call me, I'm the craziest mofo that ever walked the face of the earth. They planted that evidence to frame Cameron Reed. They did everything in their power to protect Brian Albert and only Brian Albert. Well, Colin Albert, let's face it. But Brian Albert called in the chips that he waited 30 some odd years for to call in. And that's what he did, Kim. Yeah. And no one's going to convince me. And I'll tell you right now, Josh Levy knows, the federal government knows, and we're all going to find out sooner than later.
I totally agree that there is far more layers to this onion, Sean, than even it's going to keep going and going and going.
Listen,
and the thing that I also wanted to just correct for Kevin was when I had said about the taillight, right? I said, if there was one piece of taillight, one piece of this red taillight, okay, found, because there it is, it's Proctor Claus. He's bringing his bag of taillight, but there was none, but yet there was documentation of Gallagher via a video, Mr. McDonough, with a leaf blower, as he was so proud with the layer by layer, getting rid of, removing that at what time in the morning, it was only about 2.5 to 3.5 inches of snow, right? So that's all going on. But Kevin said that there was no taillight that was in that area. Well, I have a document, and I'm going to be sure to bring it because it was from the Commonwealth's indictment of Karen Reed. And it says that the two pieces of taillight that were found, two red pieces of taillight that were found on January 29th, 2022, were found where? It says, quote, in the area where the body was located.
Right.
So, I just need everybody to try to, whatever you think trolls, I want you to go back and look at the evidence and look at the documents and then tell me if everything still jives, because it doesn't.
Here's a question for you, Kim.
Yeah.
Based on probable cause. Did the mofo king himself, Paul Gallagher, 13 years as a DEA task force agent, did he get a search warrant to make a search of that property?
No.
No. When Brian Albert and Brian Higgins and all those mofos eventually get locked up, that cocktail, I'm going to tell you right now, I said it last night, that cocktail glass, that they found, he was on that, go back to his testimony under cross-examination, and he's asked, did you think about getting a search warrant? And he get this wise-ass little smug $326,000 a year smug-ass fucking face. He's a little pussy from Canton, right? And he goes, "Pfft, I had no reason to search the house. We knew John didn't go in there." And he was asked, "How did you know he didn't go in?" "Because we found the glass outside next to him." Kim, nobody, when he made that little search with the friggin' leaf blower, nobody knew about the glass. The only people that knew about the glass were the killers inside 34 Fairview, because they put that out there along with the body. And he said, well, we knew he didn't go in because we found the glass that he took from the waterfall. Guess when the waterfall video came out? Days after that.
Yeah.
He's done. He should be done. He should be done now, right now, because he's dangerous. $326,000 he got paid. He doesn't know his ass from his elbow. Sarif the same way. So think
I
about
didn't know
that.
that.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tear them all apart. But right now, I'm focused, laser focused on Brian Albert, and he's never going to escape because, you know, when they all had him in there at the friends and family meeting, I love that because, you know, right, they had to quickly get out of there, right, because they knew the interviews were coming. So what did they do? They all bundled up and went down to Jen's house. Why was that? Why didn't they just do it right there? Why wouldn't the investigators, like they're supposed to be, come to the scene of the crime? Like it was like the DA said, almost like it was like a amazing thing. It was a great thing that Michael Proctor did not go to the scene. Michael Proctor never went to 34 Fairview. What is this DA saying? Is he out of his mind?
Wild.
You know, the thing about Morrissey, right? He's not a gangster. He's not one of these, you know, I'm in your face, I'm going to lock your... He's one of these roly-poly, just schmoly type guys. He made a fool out of himself. I'm telling you, I don't know what the hell's wrong with him, but I'm telling you, Kim, this story federally is not over. It's coming. And I'm going to tell you right now, they're still grinding. They're still interviewing people. And they are. I'm telling you, they are.
I totally agree. And I mean, with Karen changing her profile picture yesterday,
Oh,
I asked,
it was
oh yeah, I definitely asked Rich Rossi, her bodyguard. I said, Rich, can you give me anything? Tell me if Karen's leaving me a crumb here.
I need some crumbs. I want some crumbs.
Yes, you deserve all the crumbs.
I want some crumbs, for Christ's sake. I need some cheese and rice.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, I'll get you whatever you need. Okay,
No,
Sean, I got
good.
you.
I'm good. Listen.
Tell me anything though. Like, listen, you have maybe something that I get to be the first person to listen to.
This is something I've been dying to have. The part that makes my accusations against the Boston Police Department solid, right? You know, because I've always said, how does a guy like this get a license to keep doing and going over and over and over, beating up his own cops, beating up Boston Fire Department personnel, a firefighter, right? A hero. These firefighters put their lives on the job every time they go for a call. Not like cops. Cops, you know, they're out there. But every time a firefighter goes into a fire, their life is on the line. It's like every call. And he takes a bottle and he smashes it over the firefighter's head, and he gets zero. No pushback. Zero. So last night on my show, I made a statement. I said, there's got to be a civilian. He had to bang up civilians. Had to. And lo and behold, I got this letter. And I want to read a little bit from it because I have to be I feel like Kevin Lennon. I'm going to be very careful how I talk about this, right? What a buffoon this Kevin Lennon is. He tries to think he's like something that he isn't, right? But this one I had to be careful about. But do you mind if I read a bit from it? Because this is my whole platform against Brian Albert and all the hierarchy of the Boston cops. And I don't know who wrote this letter. I absolutely do not know who wrote this letter. This letter was given to Dave Yannetti on May 4th, 2023. I did not get this letter from David Yannetti or Karen Reed or Alan Jackson or Liza Little or anyone, right? I'm the one that gives them stuff, right? It doesn't work the opposite. I give them stuff, right? And the Alberts know exactly what I gave them. But I want to read this. I'm going to, do you mind if I take the moment to read this?
Absolutely.
Okay, hold on here. Let me see where this, here it is. The mouse went to sleep on me. All right, where is this foolish thing? All right, Kim, can you still see me?
I can.
Okay, good. All right. So there's a little preamble. It's dated Attorney Yannetti, May 4th, 2023. And it starts off, he said, I would like to present you with details of an incident that took place a very long time ago. And Kim, I've been saying this. He says, this is a Boston cop. He says, but provides a very early glimpse into the violent and bellicose nature of Boston Police Sergeant Detective Brian Albert. When I read this last night,
Chills.
I said, you got to be kidding. I'm finding myself, this is like divine. He says, in November of 1996, in celebration of the Marine Corps birthday, that's November 10th. Every year.
I know that is. Yeah.
Tons of Marine Corps balls when I was overseas. It was beautiful. All right. He says, between the hours of 6 and 7, a Boston Police Rapid Response Unit from Area D4, right? Now, this guy knows his stuff, right? He has to. With 2 Boston police officers, he gives their names. I'm not going to give their names. Were dispatched to the Park Plaza Hotel on Arlington Street, St. James. I've been there many times. We used to have conferences there. Park Plaza, beautiful. To assist a taxi cab driver. I said, oh my God, here it is. It's coming. Who had been assaulted and beat up and was also a victim of a fare evasion. Think about that. The guys bolted on him, beat the shit out of him and bolted. The officers arrived and spoke to the cab driver, who reported they were struck multiple times with a closed fist about the right side of his head and face by one of the 2 male occupants in the rear of his cab. All right. There was not a full partition in said cab. Back then, I guess they were wide open. I don't know, right? The cab driver was pretty shaken up. Of course he was, right? And the thing is, listen, please don't take this wrong, but he was like a Middle Eastern type guy, Yeah. And Brian obviously was like just coming back out of the Gulf War, right? Right? The piece of shit that he is, right? So he was very shaken up, right? Upon receiving the description, the responsible party who had entered the Park Plaza Hotel was, in fact, off-duty police officer Brian Albert. Officer Albert was under the influence of alcohol and was celebrating the Marine Corps birthday with thousands of other Marines downtown that evening. On this date, Officer Albert had only been on the job for just over a year and had recently successfully, they groomed him, completed his year-long probationary period for all new Boston police officers, right? So he gets on in 94. He goes through the academy. I don't know how long the academy is. I mean, mine was 6 months, right? And then you have to do a probationary period, right? Even still, whether he was on probation or not, this was an incident that could have prevented a lot of heartache amongst a lot of cops in that Boston department, right? So the assault and battery and fare evasion occurred, according to the cab driver, as a result of the cab driver mistakenly making a wrong turn. Think about this, right? 2 cops in the back seat. By the way, the other cop was his academy class pal, right? I'm not going to mention his name. He's well known, all right? Anyways, because he made a wrong turn. And the Boston Police Incident Report is still on file at Boston Police Headquarters. So Karen Reed, well, I know you have the letter. Get that report, because that's going to make your life even better, because there's a history. You talk about the pattern, right?
Yes.
You talk about, I'm going to give you a little example. You talk about the slippery slope, right? We talk about slippery slopes of corruption and violence.
Yes.
So you have kids, right, Kimmy? Right?
Yes, I do too.
All right, so here we go, right? So one of your kids go in and steals a couple of nickels and quarters. If you, I don't know, they have change anymore, and gets away with it, right? And then a few years later, they go into your wallet and they steal a couple of bucks. And then a couple of years later, they steal 10, 20 bucks. Now the next time they go in, they're teenagers, they're stealing credit cards. And before you know it, they're robbing banks because they get away with it. It's called the slippery slope. And you see it like on search warrants, right? When they talk about cops flaking innocent people or bad guys, right? And they steal their money. Well, it starts off small. Before you know it, now they're taking bags of money. All right. We talk about the slippery slope. And in Brian's case, he had a slippery slope of violence, bad violence. Okay. Where am I here? Okay. Okay. So anyways, so it was fare evasion. All right. So he made a wrong turn. The incident report is still on file. It's a handwritten report. And again, the incident location was Arlington and St. James Ave. This cop was wanted so badly for this information to get to, and I'm going to read how he couches this. All right.
Yeah.
Officer Albert was not identified by name in the report. Think about this. But both he and his Boston officer partner, blank, who was also off duty and celebrating, were the passengers in the taxi cab and also they both spoke to the arriving Boston Rapid Response Unit. So here we go. All right, here it is. He gets a pass. The two cops spoke to Brian and his partner, and they never mentioned Brian's name or his buddy's name in a Boston police report. All right. So that's why this particular cop was extremely particular about giving a roadmap for Davey and Eddie to search out this report.
A report,
okay?
Yeah.
So the approximate date of incident in question, but it's definitely November 10th. The Arlington and St. James Ave cab driver was a victim of an A and B fare evasion. That's how it was written up, but they never identified Brian and his partner. What happened? Now this, Kim, I'm telling you right now, and this is why I get so fucking emotional, right? This is what gets me right here. What happened to Officer O'Keefe was a heartless and despicable act of cowardice. And what they were trying to do to Miss Reed, send her to prison for a crime that she did not commit, is something that only a group of malignant, narcissists, and sociopaths would do. This is truly a disgusting display of police corruption and criminality. And it had not been for you and your team, Miss Reed's fate would have been sealed, and Officer O'Keefe's true murderers would never face justice. All of the hard work, efforts, and steadfast commitment to the truth and authentic justice by you, David, and your team is appreciated more than you'll ever know. Please continue to expose and keep the pressure on those morally depraved and soulless professionals. And Kim, I'm going to tell you right now, my heart almost jumped out of my chest because you know something? This is the guy I want. I want this cop on my team. All right? And I don't know who he is. And like I said, Kim, I mean, this is powerful. I felt like this guy, this is my guy. This is him. This is what I've been saying for a fucking almost 2 years now, almost a year, in August, a year and a few months. And to me, this is why I'm saying, Brian, you dirty mofo. And I'm telling you right now, I will hunt that son of a bitch down till he's either in handcuffs or I'm dead. And that's it. That's it. So that's my, by the way, oh God, he must have been molested. Well, I'm sorry. All right. Maybe he was shitting his pants all day long today, but it was not molestation. I don't know how people got that. Right.
Oh.
But I'm telling you, that's the kid. The slippery slope started with that little kid, right? That I put the picture up and he turned into that animal. 1 year on the job. 1 year on the job. And that mofo, Kevin Lenihan, is simping for this idiot.
You just said simping. You just said simping, LFA. I can't believe. No, but like I think that You're so right. I can feel your emotion. It makes me, I just literally cried, shed tears, like by you reading that last paragraph.
telling you,
Is just
that
is
that guy right there, I would give that guy the biggest hug and kiss because he's a hero. And you know something? The poor guy, it probably fell on deaf ears. I don't, like I said, I don't know how the hell it got into my box. I can tell you right now, it wasn't from the defense team, and I'm so happy they have it. But this is what I'm saying, okay? Right? This is what I'm saying.
And to anybody who has anything to say about you, Sean, as it relates to like that you are paid by Karen Reed's defense team, that you are some kind of operative. Remind everybody that all of us, like that you as a professional who is a hero, as me as just a medical professional, like this, we do this out of like a conviction, out of firm conviction and belief that Karen Reed is innocent based on our experience in this world, right?
Right.
Officer John O'Keefe's injuries do not align with being struck by a Lexus SUV. You look through and you say, wow, there's way too many things that I can't look away from as it relates to this investigation and how everything was handled and how it specifically was not handled, right? How they didn't do everything that if it was you or me at any other person's house that this occurred, there would have been warrants. There would have been like videotape. You would have taken a picture at least of the car when you were taking it from Dighton. Like every single way that they could have dropped the ball, they dropped it. And I'm not going to say, I refuse, Sean, to say that it was incompetence and that they're ignorant or that they, just didn't know better. I say bullshit to that. And I say that this was a concerted effort at some point that we are not addressing any other option in this case.
Right. Well said, Kim. And I'll tell you, let me get back to Kevin Lenahan for a minute. Right. He wants to say that Karen and I speak every day. Can't be further from the truth. Karen Reed never, ever said a word to me about John and the call and the drug dealing and this. Never. I've never heard anything. I heard it from a Canton police guy that I had. I had two of them on the job, not Peter Murphy. Okay. So Kevin obviously heard my little thing last night. And of course, Chris called him up and said, you better make a thing. So Kevin cowtailed and jumped on, did his little impromptu like he does, right? And he tried to come on as like, Mr. Rogers sitting in the leather couch with the dogs knocking down all this shit. Anyways, bottom line is this, right? I know exactly who was dealing the drugs, right? It was a kid right across the street. The detectives, and Kevin is absolutely 1,000% lying for the Alberts, right? My source, right? I talked to him today. I talked to him yesterday. I sent him everything. I even posted a text he sent me, okay? He was the one that received the call. It wasn't, where does Kevin get this information? A 911 call, right? John was a Boston cop.
Yeah.
John would never call 911, ever, right? Never. So anyways, my guy, a detective, March of 2021, received the call from John O'Keefe. Now listen closely. He received the call. He took the information. He puts the call down. Lard ass Kevin Albert, right, who never volunteers for anything, zero, nothing. He's just a shell of a guy crying at Crisp. His wife crying. Everyone's crying. He's been crying forever, right? Because he knows he's done. They got his phone. They got his comms. He turns around and said, hey, I just got a call from a Boston cop. He lives up in One Meadows. Boom. Here it is. Here goes the antennas, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least, I guess Kevin was paying attention because at the time, March 2021, his brother, Chris, is living 3 houses down from John, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so words are talked, and he goes, I'll take that. So my source goes, That was interesting, Sean. That told me right there, right, that for that guy who wouldn't tell you if your ass was on fire, it was on fire, to take the call, he had a motive. He had a reason to do that. And he told me, he said, we knew who was selling the drugs, but the detective bureau always thought that there was a connection between the weed dealer, right? He was a weed guy, right? This kid, George. I'll just call him Georgie. He was a weed guy and a pill guy, right?
Oh.
They always thought that there was a connection between Georgie and Colin. That's what the detectives said, okay? And
Like that
John,
they ran in the same circle, Sean?
well,
like,
they-
yeah.
Okay, you could throw a rock to George's house from
Okay.
John's house. Colin, Albert, and Chris live right down 3 houses down. I mean, the houses are not that spaced out, okay?
Mhm.
So, and the bottom line is, it doesn't mean anything, okay? It means nothing, all right? What it means is this, all right? They were all hiding the ball, all right? No one was talking about any of that stuff, all right? I just brought it out because I was in a Facebook page that was bringing out corruption,
Yeah.
okay? And then once Helena Rafferty got on board, well, she knew she had to get on board. They weren't talking about anything. Just like when that knucklehead Garino, right? He wasn't talking about house long to die in the cold, right? Until his ass got spanked and said, hey, Richard Green found it. What are you doing? All of a sudden, he had to get up and then do something. Kim, here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
I talked to a producer a couple of days ago, and one of the questions she asked me, we spoke for 3 hours, right? 11 to 2, spoke for 3 hours, right? And she said, Sean, how can you be so confident in your conviction? I said, I don't believe a word that the state police presented in this case. I don't believe it. Why? Why don't you believe it? Because they were the gatekeepers of the information. Okay, so let's look at it from Garino's aspect, right?
Yeah.
He completely blew the Sandra Birchmore case, and we're going to find out on that. He blew it all. He blew it.
Agreed.
He's not that bright, right? Right. You need the two things that Kevin Lenihan bases his whole theory on. Forget about the key cycles and all this happy horse shit. Even Trooper Paul doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He missed the key cycles. The two things that Kevin Lenihan puts every ounce of his reputation, as bad as it is on the GPS and the Waze. Right?
Yes.
GPS data and the Waze, right? Now, we know how they got the GPS data. They used some friggin' thing you look for deers in the woods for, right? They didn't use the industry standard like most, they're state police. They're a qualified agency. And they got fucking Michael Proctor down there on his knees with a yardstick plotting fucking dimensions, right? So, so here's the thing, right? Who tested Garino's report? Nobody.
No one.
Who tested the Waze data? No one, right? Nobody. Why didn't Lally bring in an expert, just let's say for Waze, to knock in the fact that there was no way that John could have been going up and downstairs because he was over there at Oakdale, whatever the Christ he was at, right? I'm telling you, Kim, this was manufactured for one and only one reason. And they got caught because Garino had to now jump on his horse and say, oh, fuck. Because look at the guy in the stand. Come on, he's a wreck. He's a nervous wreck, and he's breathing. He's, oh, kill me. You're dead already. You're a dead man walking. You don't even know it. You don't even know it yet, pal. Right? Kill me. Right? That's why they are the owners of the information. Now, it'd be different. Like you said, I don't have a leg to stand. If a guy from Waze came in, Waze, that stupid program. Listen, I'll tell you right now, when I drive, I know where I'm going, right? When I drive up to Boston, I got Waze, I got Google, and I got Siri. They're all going to three. Yeah. And they're all telling me to go left, right. They don't know where the fuck they're going. But at least I know I'm telling you right now. They manufactured. They picked out Karen, like you said, Kim, from Jump Street. then they had to put the case together to make it seem like she did it. And you know why? Because the guys in 34 who's peeking up behind the blinds from that second floor window did it. And he called in his marks. He called in his favors because he's got some serious fucking dirt on somebody. Because guess what? Kim, I'm telling you right now, he was given a license. Linsky, that guy, Linsky, the former commissioner that spoke at Short and Shiny's retirement, gave Brian fucking Albert the keys to the building. He had full reign to run terror all over that city.
Well, and we remember too, though, Sean, when Higgins was on the stand, he was the one who said that Berkowitz was like afraid of Brian Albert. And that I mean, like, for the love of God, if you've got Higgins up there saying stuff like that, under oath, for crying out loud, he said that in the grand jury at the federal grand jury,
hold on,
and he had to come up with it.
If you remember directly, when Alan Jackson asked him, he said, remember that little meeting you had? We'll just call it a meeting. And he said, yeah, I'm tracking. That meeting was his proffer, okay? They got that information from the proffer. And he said, those guys, remember, he said, I'm tracking. They asked you about Brian Albert's reputation. And he goes, yep, they did. And they also asked you about Short and Shiny, Chief Berkowitz, about what he thought about Brian Albert. And he got him to admit, even though Judge Bev disallowed it, he said, yeah, he was concerned about Brian. He was concerned about Brian's violence. That was right on stand, because I'll tell you right now, many Boston cops were interviewed by the FBI. Oh, let me clear something else out, right?
Yeah.
With Kevin Lenahan, okay? He also wants to say that I talk regularly to the FBI agents involving this case, right? I can tell you right now, right? I should put out a red herring, right? I could make a joke out of this, right? I could say, hey, Kevin, you haven't figured out how a guy like me sitting in Naples hitting golf balls got involved in this case. Don't you know that I was a secret mole the whole time? I could put that out. He's giving me all kinds of stuff. Leah Ferrara, okay, everyone knows the the agents for the Canton Wing. There's many agents, right? But for the Canton Wing, you get Jim Henry, right? I wouldn't, if he trampled on me, I wouldn't know who he was. And Leah Ferrara, right? I never, ever spoke to that woman until October of last year. And she called me up and said, Sean, I said, hi. I thought she was going to say thank you for all you do. She fucking calls me up, Kim. Seriously, she calls me up and says, would you please stop giving up my fucking cell phone? I said, what are you talking about? She says, well, did you give my cell phone to Rita and all those ladies? I said, no. Why would I do that? She goes, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
well, in the future, listen, I was so fucking pissed. In the future, she says, please don't give up. I said, I won't give out anything, you son. Matter of fact, I'll do everything not to talk to you, sorry ass. Kim, I was fucking livid.
Yeah.
Livid. Like I was, and then I got accused of I think Turtle Boy said, oh, you're taking time away from the real investigation. I said, what are you talking about, you half-asses? Taking time away from what? I'm sitting here trying to put shit together. I'm not, right. She called me. I said, Chelsea. I said, oh, beautiful. This is beautiful. And I thought I was going to get like an attaboy. I didn't even get a crumb. Nothing. Oh. Not a dime. Zip.
Oh,
nothing.
That doesn't make a lot of sense. You should be getting a lot, Sean, because of just,
I don't
just
want
as a means of recognition.
You know what I want, Kim? What? I want to look in Peggy O'Keefe and Paul O'Keefe's eyes and said, I did everything I could to get justice for your son. And we did. That's what I want. I want to be able to say that he never got it on the morning of January 29th, 2022. But this day, we got it through. We got him over the finish line. And now we have true justice for JJ. Your son, Peggy, your brother, Paul.
I
right?
agree.
Because I'm going to
Beautiful.
tell you right now, they box themselves in. I hate to say this, right? We have a system of justice that says everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Paul O'Keefe said on TV that Karen Reed killed my brother.
Mm-hmm.
See, the family should always stay neutral, because what's going to happen when that comes out to be false?
Well, yeah.
What's going
Yeah.
to happen? What's going to happen? You know why?
Lawsuits. Yeah.
You know why? There's one man that won't be ashamed. One man. His name is John O'Keefe Sr., because he knows Karen is 100% factually innocent. He knows it. And I know he knows it. I'm just going to leave it there.
Right. You know, I wanted to just bring it back, Sean, just about one thing about, because that is very interesting to me about the Waze data, and you bringing that up, because when we had Kevin on, he said that, or he's kind of leaning on the fact that I'm just joking. Karen got to One Meadows at 12:36. We know that.
That's right.
And the Commonwealth is stating that the incident occurred where Officer John O'Keefe was allegedly struck at 12:32 a.m.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, because I've done the Google Maps, okay, and it says 6 to 7 minutes via Washington Street.
Right.
Now, Kevin says that he knows someone and he had somebody drive and and you can do it in 4 minutes, because it's a simple rate of speed. If you only go 35 miles an hour, you'll get there. But babes, you're not taking into the account of a stoplight. You're not taking into account that every other idiot you're saying couldn't travel anywhere the next day because of this blizzard. And it had just started snowing. So you're saying that Karen is Mario Andretti's wife, and she's out just rip roaring at 50 miles an hour at 12:30 a.m. when the roads are starting to get icy. I call bullshit. And if it is more than 4 minutes that it takes a human being to get from 34 Fairview to One Meadows, then Karen Reed is factually innocent.
Absolutely. Listen, he's foolish. He's foolish.
Yeah.
Let's look at the conditions. She doesn't know where she's at, number one.
Right.
She missed the turn down at Fairview. All right. She doesn't know where she's at. Right. There is no way. I lived in Ken. I drove that route back out. There is no, for someone, to be drinking, right? Maybe she's agitated, a little hot to trot as far as being in some kind of little, fucking John didn't call me or whatever, right? Leaves. So drinking, a little agitated, doesn't know where the hell she's at, right? I guarantee, I'm going to tell you right now, that's why the data does not make sense. Who controlled the data? The Massachusetts State Police. Mm-hmm. And you know something, Kevin? I know he's watching. Kevin, you're the biggest fool because you didn't ask the right question of yourself. See, I'm a law enforcement guy. My job is to ask questions and make a decision. I'm not like you, Kevin. Well, I can do it this way or that way, and if I'm wrong, I go move on. I move on, right? See, that's a weakling. He's a weak person because he's playing both sides. Aiden Connie was right. He was two-siding it. He still is, because he said, if I'm wrong, if all of a sudden Sean, is right, and this was a big elaborate conspiracy with manufactured evidence, guess what, Kevin? Those are your words. And it was. I don't believe one thing the state police said. Not one. And that's why I can make it nice and easy. That cop right there, who knows the whole story, that wrote that letter, knows that Brian Albert killed John. And guess I'll tell you another cop. Another cop told me, he says, Sean, when I found out about John being dead, I asked one question. Where was he found? And the guy said, oh, by the way, this was an interview by the FBI, by the way. He said he was found on John's front lawn. He says, he was found on Brian Albert's front lawn. And he goes, Brian Albert's front lawn? He goes, well, Brian Albert killed him. He says, how do you know? He says, that's Brian's MO. He punches cops out.
Right. Yeah. Like, and I just, and when it goes back to even Kevin saying about the Waze data, though, he is so harping on that right now. And I want to let you know that on WEEI, a very close friend of Officer John O'Keefe, John Jackson, went on and was on with Greg Hill and Courtney. And he, like he said that it was likely about closer to 5 minutes, on a 5 to 6 minute, right, is what the family believes. So I just wanted to say to Kevin,
for someone who knows, I could get there in probably 3 minutes, but someone who knows can do that. Karen Reed, come on, she's not from there. She never was ever near Brian Albert's house.
Right. Well, and the thing is that, like, Kevin, at least if you're going to push a narrative, at least make sure that you're on the page with the people who you're like, if I don't know who didn't tell you that, but I'm trusting John Jackson's account, who was, a very close family friend. He went to Northeastern with Officer John O'Keefe.
Sure.
They would commute together, and he used to listen to AAF. Like, I would like to hear more stories if they ever wanted to say stories about John when he was growing up or when he was in college or things like that. We'd love to talk about that. Everybody, we'd love to talk about Officer John O'Keefe's life. We have we would never not want to do that.
Of course.
It's that none of you are doing it. So the people that the counter protesters seem to be aligned with just really having not a lot of nice things to say about Turtle Boy. But let's not have it be anything about Turtle Boy when you all say that it's supposed to be about justice for Officer John O'Keefe. And that's what all of us are looking for.
Right. So, as you probably know, I had a long conversation back in early November, with Tom Beatty. All right. And Tom's a great guy. He really is. I feel like I know the guy forever, right? And I said, Tom, listen, I know we're going to have Thanksgiving coming. Well, as it turned out, my father died, and I lost touch, and I always wanted to get back to him. So when I put out the fact, because in that conversation that I had back in early November with Tom, he said, Sean, I could never understand a couple of things. He said a lot of things, but a couple of things that stood out to me. He said, I could not understand how Jen McCabe knew that I traveled to Karen's house, right? I said, well, I mean, what do you mean? He says, listen, I didn't tell anyone I was going down to see Karen. I knew she was upset, blah, 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 all this other stuff. So when they threatened Erin, his daughter, okay? Yes. He said that it was the most disgusting thing he ever heard any two women say. I think Jill Thomas and Jen, right? The soccer mother, right? Just remember now, she's the soccer mother, right?
Wait, Jill Daniels or who's Jill Thomas?
I'm sorry, Jill Thomas is another player, right?
Oh, okay.
That was with Jennifer McCabe, the soccer mother. I call her the coveted sister-in-law, right? Wait till you see John Camo's new intro, outro for me. It's classic. But anyways, he said, my daughter, right, is a very innocent child. And I believed him. I mean, he said, the vile things that Jill Thomas said to my daughter in public, I think they were maybe at a football game, the fans, where the stands are, and Jill Thomas goes, get that dick out of your mouth, Erin. So Tom Beatty tells me back in November, and I love the guy, man. He's amazing. He tells me, he said, Sean, I've never, ever, ever raised my hand to a woman, nor would I ever think I would ever hit a woman. He said, I would have definitely beat her up if I could and get away with it. That's how disgusted it was. But then Jen McCabe goes, and I see you're fucking your girlfriend down in Mansfield, right? Are you monetized? Because you're going to get struck by me. But anyways, she goes, I see you fucking your girlfriend down in Mansfield. He goes, what are you talking about? He goes, yeah, I know you've been down there 3 times. Tom goes, he says, Sean, I have never told anyone I was going down ever to meet with Karen. And not only did Jen know that, but she knew exactly how many times at that particular time I was there. I was there 3 times. I said, wow. So when this thing about Marty Kraft came out a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yes. Give me your take
Right.
on that.
Oh, well, here's the thing. Marty Kraft lives in Mansfield.
Yes.
And we now know that, well, you know, we sent the FOIA out, and the FOIA doesn't have anything being paid directly from the DA's office, but that doesn't mean anything. But we do know, right? We do know that from sources close to Marty himself, right? Close to Marty himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
That said that he was working for Morrissey to surveil Karen Reed. And some of the people that were going down to see Karen, or I'm not going to mention their names, saw people taking photographs from cars outside the Mansfield residence. Okay. And so when I made that post, right, I said to myself, oh my God, I said, this is now I understand how Tom was spooked by by McCabe. So anyways, I talked to him last week. I said, Tom, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. So there's a great story, Kim, about Tom Beatty and a Brian Albert meeting over at the hillside. Right? This is a great story. It was told a couple of times, but it was told wrong.
Okay.
So Tom likes to have a few beers at the hillside. All right.
Yep.
Me too. I mean, when I went there, it wasn't called the hillside, right? When I was up there 2 Junes ago, I wasn't drinking at the time, but I definitely went there for lunch and dinner every night. I probably saw all those mofos, but I wasn't involved as much as I am now. So Tom starts hearing that Brian Albert is making trips to the hillside. He was never known to make trips to the hillside.
Huh.
So he started making trips after John was killed. So he has a buddy there, and he says, you know, these guys are coming in for a reason. It was him, Higgins. Sometimes it was him and Chris, little Chrissy, right?
Yeah.
The underachiever. But anyways, so Tom starts thinking, oh, these fuckers, they want to talk to me about something. Because, you know, we know the story that Erin was the one that actually places Colin at the house. They all lied about Colin being in the house. Brian lied, Coco lied, they all lied, right? Jill Daniels screaming from the top of her lungs, Colin wasn't there ever, right? Well, guess what? Erin Beatty put that to bed, and Tom feels, oh, these fuckers they're probably trying to, you know, find out and talk to me. So the next time he said, hey, buddy, to his buddy, he said, next time they come in, call me. I don't care. Just call me. I don't care what time of night was. So I heard the story. So Tom was down at the McKeown Post, right, in Dorchester, right? Now, the funny thing is, as a kid growing up, we used to go to the McKeown Post all the time. My mother's maiden name was McKeown, okay? Oh. And her father from Ireland. And the McKeown Post, right? We had all the weddings. We had all the retirement parties. We used to box there the whole night. And we started talking, right? I said, is it true that you dashed out of the McKeown Post to get up to the hillside? He said, yeah. He said, my buddy called me. He said, I was not going to miss this for anything. So he said, my buddy said, do you want me to come? He goes, no, fuck this. I'm there. He got there in 11 minutes. And that's pretty good. So he gets in there. He sees lard-ass Brian Higgins, and he sees Brian Albert. Now think about that. This is after John, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is dead. It's after John's dead. And there's a little scuttlebutt about going around about Brian Albert. And the
in
whole
the
thing.
town. Yeah, it hadn't
Right.
broken, but this was like what was
Right.
going on just
Exactly.
in Canton. Yep.
So now Tom's a big dude, right? And I've never met him. I just know that he's a big dude, right? He walks up to Brian. Now check this out. He's in there. Brian's the big, bad Brian. And loud-ass Brian Higgins. So he goes right directly to Brian. He goes, hey, do you got something to ask me or you want to tell me something? And Brian all of a sudden, big bad Brian, you know, sucker punch Brian, gets a little sheepish. And he goes, he says, come on, follow me outside. So they walk outside. Now it's just him and Brian. He goes, hey, Brian, Do you have something to tell me about that night in your house? Now, me, if I was Brian Albert, right, I'd be fucking livid. I'd say, hey, motherfucker, you accusing me of something, Tom?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
fuck. You know what Brian Albert did? He goes, he looks down. That's number one indicator. He looks down, right? And he goes, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say. He says, Sean, I know in my heart, Brian Albert killed John because he didn't give me the reaction any normal guy would give. And I love Tom Beatty for this. I'm going to give that big mofo a huge hug too, because I'm telling you right now, Brian Albert's reputation, if I was Brian Albert, I'd be fucking livid. I'd be yelling for, I said, don't you ever fucking accuse me of something. If I didn't do it,
Of course.
what else? And that's the thing. See, we talk about circumstances and circumstantial evidence. Well, guess what? The feds have it. The feds have it all, right? Right. Karen didn't kill John. Well, who did? So let's face it. Let's name who didn't. Coco didn't. We know Brian Albert Jr. didn't.
No.
Did Juliana Nagel do it? No. Maybe she could have, but no, she didn't. Did Sarah Levison? Nah. Did Caitlin Albert? No. You got Brian Higgins. You got Brian Albert. And guess what? You got Colin Albert there, because guess what? They all cried wolf on Colin Albert. He wasn't in the house. Pal, Steve Scanlon knows that Brian Albert and Colin Albert killed John. And that's it. That's the story. And tell me, and guess what? Prove that I'm wrong. Prove I'm wrong. That's my story. Miss Kim.
And yeah, no, and I totally listen, I think that I wish, if nothing more in my life, Sean, would I not have wanted Mass State Police to do the right thing and to investigate this and
Exactly.
to just, maybe have just given the respect to Officer John O'Keefe that he deserved, that his family deserves, and that Karen Reed and her family deserve. But
Right.
both families have been 100% railroaded by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Absolutely.
Because they've been sold, the O'Keefes have been sold a bill of goods that is worth about, a nickel's ass. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
And Karen Reed and her family have been fighting the system single-handedly,
Right.
with literally an arm tied behind her back for the last 18 months. It's just, and it just continues to get worse and worse. And everybody, at least if nothing else, Sean, the market is saturated with humans that know that our eyes are all open. We are awake. And it's like we were in the Matrix. I said that I feel like you had a blue pill or a red pill moment. And when I woke up and saw what was actually there, it made me sick because this is like you, Sean, going against 30 years of your entire life, everything that you believe in, your entire career, your belief system, your brotherhood. It goes deeper than any other profession. I believe nurses are similar like that, but
Absolutely.
your profession is even more so. And for you to have to swallow that pill and see what you've seen. But now I'll tell you, I think that we're all pretty aware and ready to continue to fight back, because any one of us could be Karen Reed. We know this. And we refuse to sit back and allow the good old boys to allow the collusion, the corruption that we have seen played out in the Sandra Birchmore case, which also, sidebar, to everybody who is on that is an anti-Karen Reed person, I do not know how you think that Fanning, Lank, Morrissey, all of these characters who have been instrumental in the miscarriage of justice against Sandra Birchmore and have committed in my criminal behaviors towards Sandra Birchmore, including the Stoughton police officers who groomed her since childhood in that Explorers program. You all should be ashamed, and you need to look with your eyes and say, oh, I don't know how I can acknowledge the crimes, acknowledge the corruption in one case, but you can't acknowledge it in the same departments a year later. Right?
That's true. It's true. Absolutely. I was going with something here. I've completely escaped my mind here, but yeah, it's just, oh, no, I want to say this. And this is coming from the free Karen Reed people, all right?
Mm-hmm.
To the free Karen Reed people out there who are sick and tired of me talking about the feds and so when's it going to come, turn my fucking channel off. Don't even follow me, all right? Because I'm going to say this until it happens, all right? This goes one or two ways. Either it happens or it doesn't, okay? I'm just smart enough to know what you guys don't know. And this is coming from the free Karen Reed people, all right? You can all take a hike. I don't give a shit. I don't care about the case that comes up. I don't care about anything. Karen Reed will never, ever be convicted. Ever, okay? Ever. They all said last year, oh, she's going to plead guilty. They're starting to do this shit again. She is bulletproof. Kevin Lenihan says he's got bulletproof evidence that she did it. He's a fool. And you know here's the thing, Kim. Where's the guy like me for them? Because it's not Kevin Lenihan. Where's the retired detective cop major from the state police doing stupid YouTube things like me? Why aren't they ringing the bell for John O'Keefe or for Michael Proctor or for anyone? Where's the Canton mofos cops doing something, right? No one's out there, right?
Right.
No one but Lenihan, who's a nut job, right? Probably his medical things, the meds are killing him in his brain. They got K. Peter, they got someone else. I don't know who else they have. They're all fighting, right? All right. The Karen Reed people need to say this, all right? You heard the federal government say that Karen Reed did not hit John O'Keefe. That's it. It's over with. They'll never get a conviction, right?
Sean, have you heard, and this is, again, guys, I'm just going to say, I'm giving you this right now as a speculation. This is just what I have, is word on the street, babes, not anything that I can confirm or proof. But sure. I have heard, and I just was wondering that, your take on it, that you remember when we got the 3,027 page federal data dump? I heard through the grapevine that there's more because they've been doing all these documents and that they're scheduling a data dump for October.
Like I said, I don't hear about, listen, I can tell you right now, the 3,074 pages, right, that were given to everyone concerned. Remember, Alan Jackson used 6 witnesses to defend a client that could face the rest of her life in jail. Yes. That's how confident he is, and that team is. Karen Reed put out that letter, right, yesterday, right? Beautiful letter. It's her way of saying, fuck you, Morrissey. You're not going to break me, okay?
Yeah.
And the bottom line is this. That was the federal government telling Leland et al., right? Morrissey, Lally.
Yeah.
We don't agree with your assessment. And they basically said, go pound sand. And that's what she's saying to Morrissey et al., okay?
Yeah.
That's the message, right? And the free Karen Reed people better wake the fuck up. Stop fighting. I know they're all fighting. I thank God I'm not up there, but I know factions are fighting. Stop the fighting. Stop the fighting. The other side's fighting now. We don't need to be that part. We won. We know the game plan. We know the Commonwealth's case now, inside and out. She's never getting convicted. Start thinking about why the FBI took a huge swing at the Mass State Police.
Yeah.
Start thinking about why all those witnesses were hauled into the grand jury. Start thinking about it. And for Kevin Lenihan to say there's no evidence, he is out of his mind. But like I said, stop the infighting. It's done. It's over with. Stop the infighting. This is not a competition, right?
Oh,
This is
okay.
not a
On this side?
This is
Oh,
within the free camera. Listen, this is not a competition. This is not a race to get, whatever the hell, clicks, baits, whatever the hell stop the infighting. There's no need for anyone who supports Karen Read to be jealous of this guy or jealous of this woman or jealous of this infant. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is this: Karen Read is factually innocent. All right. And the federal government has put their money on her, not Michael Proctor and his sham of an investigation. People need to understand this. You're not thinking. The federal government, right, has put all their chips
on
red.
red. Yeah.
There you go. Stop the bullshit, people. Stop thinking that they don't have a case.
Of course
They're not going to work on your time. I used to say this all the time. The Cubans were the worst. You deal with a Cuban for a dope deal? You know what we used to say? We're on doper time. The Cubans were the worst. They would come up. They say, when I meet you at 3, it could be 3:00 next week. All right.
Oh, geez.
Worst. I'm going to tell you right now, all you people out there, the feds will act when the feds are ready. There's a reason for everything. Get off the pot, get off your little high horses, right? Because I don't need any of you. I really don't. But if you're going to come at me and say, oh, you've been saying this for you, I'll say it for another 10 years if it has to. But guess what? Bottom line is, they're coming. And Brian Albert knows it. Brian Higgins knows what he told the U.S. attorney in that office. He knows exactly what he told. He just didn't like the plea agreement. We know that. So to answer your question there, Kim, no, I don't. Listen, is it possible? I guarantee Alan Jackson didn't even tap into the first 3,074 pages. He's got a plethora of information he could use because, Kim, the 3,074 pages all favors Karen Read. It's about exculpatory evidence like she's, okay, I'll give it up, right? Karen Read said in March of 2022, what's his name? Lally has been hiding the ball this whole time. That's a quote unquote. Lally has been hiding the ball this whole time. Take that to the bank. The feds know it. The feds went to them, not the other way around, Kevin. The feds went to them.
Holy shit.
Yeah, right. Come at me. I got more. I'm going to start leaking them out.
Wow. Sean, listen.
Adam Lally has been hiding the ball the whole time. You know what that amounts to? Civil rights violations. Guess who's on those letters? The Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. Guess what? Any cop or attorney gets on their hit list, it's over. Your career's done. And they're all over those 8 letters that were released. Great thing that Ted Daniels did. Read those 8 letters and think about what I'm saying right now.
Yeah.
They violated Karen Read's civil rights to umpteenth. I'm telling you, like you wouldn't believe. And it's all about the frame job they did because the feds know. Take it to the bank. They know.
And it's going to, they're going to fall from the top, right? It's going to be, I think it's going to be a whole reset when it's done, honestly, to be honest with you, Sean. It's going to be that entire office from Morrissey and down because you've got to.
Kim, I think it goes upwards. I think Morrissey's in the middle of a big, my understanding is that the whole public corruption unit they've got TDY agents working on it. They don't have enough agents to field all the leads they're getting. It's a massive, massive corruption. The John O'Keefe part is a small cog in the little part of the overall thing. I'm telling you, when I saw the Civil Rights Division respond in those letters, I said, that's it. We know it now. Now we know what Lally was hiding the ball the whole time means. Listen, Karen is not by any stretch. She is very intelligent, extreme, and I'll tell you right now.
She's a fifth lawyer. That's what I call her.
She's a
lawyer.
She's a force to be reckoned with, and no one's getting over her. No one. Nobody. So, you free Karen Reed people, stand down, get back together, do a kumbaya, whatever you have to do. Stop the fighting. It's not about this or about that or clicks or bait clicking or whatever the Christ you want to call it. Super chats, super slickers, emojis, whatever you want to call it. I'm telling you right now, get unified. The other team is busted up big time. They're busted down. They're saying, I'll tell you a little tea here. I'm getting accused, and I don't even talk to these people. I heard from good sources that the big fight over Kate Peters and all the rest, I call them the Dedham Five, Aiden calls them something else, is because, so-and-so told Sean McDonough about Kate Peters being with Marty Kraft. I never heard that, but they're saying that some people in that group are close to me, right? A twisted tragedy, listen, I have no problem. Listen, but they're saying, some other lady is saying, you told Sean McDonough. I never said Kate Peters worked for anyone. They're saying it, not me.
Right.
I don't know shit from Shiola. But this is what the problem is. They're infighting because they have nothing. They don't have anything. The case is
Right.
They know the case is over.
Right.
And Kim, you said it tonight. It's only their hatred for Aiden is what they're in it for. That's the only thing. Big ass, what's her name? Natalie. She's in it because Aiden slapped her down, right? Joe Rogie, whatever his name is, he's in it because Natalie got slapped down. MJ Maglio knows that story. The thing is, Kim, we could talk forever. And this is why I refuse to look backwards. No more taillights, no more bullshit. I'm looking at Uncle Joe's house. Dennis Sweeney knows. We all know. It's all about what's going to happen right down there in Joe Moakley's building. And that's the ticket. And Brian Albert, my friend, I haven't even begun on you yet. But this guy right here, the guy I read that letter.
Yes.
Buddy, I'm telling you right now, Brian, that's what I needed. I needed a hero like that because you are a coward. He said it. I was shocked. This guy is amazing. And guess what? I was told that if he needed anything to be signed, he'd sign it.
Ooh,
I got these ghosts coming at me. I don't know who the hell they are, but I'll tell you, you can't beat this.
No, you can't.
I got the letter right there, and I'm sure David.
Well, and if there's anybody else too, like just a reminder, I know like that I have I think there's it's a couple hundred people in here probably.
Nice.
So there is, if anybody else wants to come forward, if anybody else wants to say, anything that they feel or anything that they would know that is from Boston Police Department, from Boston, right, from the Boston firefighter, anyone, Sean is available, or if you wanted to just reach out to talk to me, I am happy to talk to anybody that wants to get anything off of their chest or that needs to, just let it out, because I think that there's a lot of people that have been silent for a very long time, Sean, and it's fear. It's fear of retaliation. It's fear of job security. It's fear for a lot of things. But at the end of the day, when you see these, right? When you see this, when that's what you find over, 18 days, it has to be Proctor Clause. Okay. And what I do on TikTok, which is not appropriate probably, but I'm going to do it. We do punch a Proctor, right? We just whack it back because he's a real gem. So listen, Sean, do you want to is it okay for you to take just a couple of questions if any of my humans wanted to ask you, and then I'll let you go.
I told the lady, the producer the other day, she said, okay, Sean, we'll talk. Can you just give me an hour of your time? I said, ma'am, I'm going to take the over. You cannot talk about this for an hour. At 3:00, she said, Sean, I have to stop. She says, I can't take it no more. I have to digest with all the stuff you talked to me about.
Can you tell
I'll take any questions you want.
Can you tell us what the producer was for, or is that secret?
I can't get into that.
Okay.
but I've also been also asked to be a consultant on another project, non-Karen Reed, though. Amazing.
Right?
Something else very interesting, but it's non-Karen Reed. But I want to stay on Karen Reed, but maybe this producer might come around. Who knows? But she
That's
was
awesome.
very. I must say, I think I spun her head around. That's all right. It doesn't matter to me. So, but we talked for 3 hours. We talked for 3 hours. So, and she taped me. I said, tape me. You won't be the first one.
Yeah. All right, guys, do you have any questions for the one and only Mr. Sean McDonough, our friend who we appreciate and love, and just giving you a little bit of love, Sean, because not for nothing, I have appreciated everything that you have done, and I have appreciated your dedication, your hard work. And if anybody wants to call Sean a grifter, Sean, or they call me a grifter, they call all of us grifters, but Sean didn't ever make, he didn't monetize anything until yesterday.
Oh, by the way, can I tell you something? Now that you bring that up, and I must say, I was like, wow, I didn't realize, because I couldn't keep my eye on the chat like I am right now because I wouldn't be able to concentrate. So my boss said, oh my God, Sean, you're not going to believe what happened. I thought I had 100 members. Someone gifted 300 memberships, right? Someone else gifted 50, 10, 20, this and that, super chats, super stickers, emojis, and all this stuff, right? I got off. I was drained because yesterday was emotional for me. I was drained, right? Because I had to talk about my own brother Brian, because I'm not gonna throw sand at Brian Albert without knowing that I live with a guy just like Brian Albert, but my brother Brian didn't have a badge. I get off the damn show. A half hour later, I get this ding, YouTube. All your money you made has been taken from you. Demonetized your program. You have A, B, C, and D. I said, you got to be. They gigged me because they said my outro song with it was Maceo, right? I've used that forever.
Yeah.
And they said,
copyright.
You use that copyright. Well, guess what? I have the license. I do have the license. So I had to go through the hoops and show them that I had the license. It's on licked. I mean, but even Dylan told me. He said, Sean, just go through the hoops. But now that I have I have an intro and outro, I don't have to use any more songs. So anyways,
there you go. Bag. Oh, thank you, man. John Como, though. He is.
Oh man, John.
John is the best.
Wait till you see this one. And I got to tell you, John's my boy, man. He, can I do one thing before the, and I haven't seen it. I feel awful. Sergeant Bukaki. Hold on. Anyways, I want to say a special happy birthday to Deirdre Sargent. I don't know if she's listening. Deirdre, I feel awful because I was supposed to acknowledge her before weeks ago, all right, and had it all set up because her friend told me, and I'm sorry. But special birthday. She was a dispatcher when I was with Arlington County Police Department.
Oh my God.
It's amazing out there. So Deirdre, if you're out there, happy belated birthday. I'm sorry.
Go, Deirdre. It's your birthday.
We could have Dylan sing in Welsh.
Oh,
her birthday song. Dylan's a great. So, yeah, I'll take question. The duffel bag, man. The duffel bag. Ooh. Listen, who knows? I don't know why 4 federal agents went up there and seized a duffel bag from Craig MacDonald. I don't have no idea why. But I can tell you right now, started thinking about it when they got into Proctor's private cell phone. See, they weren't that smart. They really weren't, Kim. They weren't that smart. That opened up a lot of doors, as we know, right? You got 2 of them on the bricks because of personal cell phones. You got the other 2 supervisors who condoned all this shit, right? So you got Albert and Proctor. Anyways, so I believe something about that duffel bag contains evidence. And I think Craig MacDonald was shitting bricks. And I think they probably called him up or said, we're coming. Or maybe he called them. Who knows, right? But something about that duffel bag. It wasn't You don't take 4 federal agents to come up and knock on your door and take a duffel bag away without having, let's face it, that, you could be in the kindergarten to figure that one out, right?
Yeah.
Richie
And
mentioned the pool yesterday with Kim and Dave. Who's Richie? Oh, Richie.
Yep. Our
Yeah. How
bodyguard.
about Richie, man?
So good.
Talk about Rich, man. He's a great guy.
He's incredible. I just
He's a
like that
great
was his
guy.
first time. So he's friends with Dave, right, Sean?
Oh, yeah, nice.
Him and Dave know each other. And like, but it was my first time to like meet him online
Right.
last night. And he is like, when I tell you, like, salt of the earth, what a good dude. Like he cares so deeply. You can see that he is so invested. I learned that his sons were also bodyguards for Karen at different points, and then, for a period of time. So I just think that he is really like an incredible rock and support for Karen and for the Reed family right now. And especially it made me happy to know that he is there and that there haven't been any like really scary moments per se. He said that he's able to keep a tight ship, but I was always wondering, because I always want to know like that if Karen is feeling, afraid or stuff like that. I wouldn't want it, because I know it can get crazy at court and sometimes other places as well.
Listen, if a person's hell-bent on doing something, they're going to do it. That's it. I mean, you can hope for the best, but expect the worst. That's what you have to have that mindset, right? I think they're a little bit, I think the security team was great, but guess what? Get her to the door, get her out of the car, get in as quick as possible, right? Yeah. She's, let's face it, she's a target for some of these people, right? That moron that came up, I don't know, he did all kinds of time, JLR, whatever his name is.
Oh God, yeah.
That could have been a serious problem, really. And what would it take for him? Just remember something, people. There's a 21-foot rule with a guy with a knife, right? You are justified to blast a guy from 21 feet if he has a knife. Because I proved it myself, because I was a firearms officer in Houston for several years, and we used to do training. At what point, I would say to the guys, what point do you think your life is in fear with a guy with a knife? And I say, tell me. And they say, oh, right there, about 3 feet. So then I said, okay, I went back to 21 feet. I said, shoot me, all right, before I can get to you, right? I got to them all the time. 21 feet, I was stabbing them, and they're blasting the gun, but it didn't matter. I got the jump. So that kid, that nut, 21, if he had a knife, he had her anytime he wanted. And that's how you have to have the mindset.
Yeah.
Right? You have to have that mindset. There's a lot of distraction. You get the reporters, Karen, what about this? What about, and all of a sudden, some lone wolf out there wants to make a name for themselves. And then, listen, I hate being this way, but this is how I live my life for 30. I live it now. I still live it now. I'm still looking. You kidding me? I bring my gun, put it out underneath the towel when I'm at the pool. Are you kidding me? Stop that.
Oh yeah, I totally. Oh gosh. All right. Well, I think that's it for tonight though, Sean. Okay. And I think that you are everything. And I appreciate you coming on episode 3 of Nurse Kim. Okay.
This is beautiful. And by the way, real quick about Dave, I was communicating with this guy, Dave Cullinane, on Messenger. I said, listen, I've been away for a long time. I had no idea who Dave Cullinane was. And then I told someone, I said, I'm getting this stuff from Dave Cullinane. He said, do you know who Dave Cullinane is? I said, no. He said, well, he's the producer for Craig, whatever his name, Minahan was. I said,
Minahan, yeah.
I said, who's that?
So, geez, you didn't even know who Minahan was?
I was rowing fucking dugout canoes on the Amazon River for half my life. No, listen.
That's touche.
So, but I met Dave, right, virtually with Dylan, Cheese and Rice. I met via his show, and I said, Dylan was talking about this famous guy, Dave Cullinane. I says, well, I know a Dave Cullinane. He's Messenger, and he shows up. Anyway, it's a long story, but
we love Dave.
Big hugs to Kelly. Big hugs.
We love Kelly Reed?
Yes. She's my girl.
There you go.
She's my KR girl. KR, Kelly Reed. That's what Kevin probably thinks I'm talking to. You know, he probably has my phone and sees KR, Kelly Reed, K Reed. It's always Kelly Reed. I mean, Kevin, I will say about Kevin, he's got a great mind. Oh, by the way, Kim, right? By the way, he thinks we're all going on the UFO trip now. He accuses us of getting into the UFOs. But what he does want to say is he did a whole screenplay about people coming down from Mars. He's such a joke. Joke.
Well, actually, speaking of UFOs,
yes.
if anybody's available, we are going to be on Calling All Beings on Saturday evening at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock Eastern time, yeah.
Eastern Standard, and it's going to be, it's Mr. McDonough, it's Mr. Murphy, Mr. Peter Murphy.
Yes, Murphy.
Oh my gosh, it's Mazza Media.
Yeah,
people.
How about that?
Mazza. It is Miss Shorty, who is doing incredible work.
Yes.
And it is
Lily. I think
Lily.
Right, Lily.
There's Lily on it too. Yes, Lily.
And yourself.
And I, I don't know why I'm on. I've already done one, but I'll do another one.
Right. No, that's great. Oh, look at Fartbox McGee. I look at Fartbox. I haven't seen Fartbox in a long time. Fartbox McGee. That's beautiful, huh?
Fartbox. There we go. I love it. All right.
I know who they are, but I keep forgetting. I haven't seen them in such a long time because I think they're on with Dylan all the time, and I haven't been with Dylan in a while. But guess what? That's going to change sometime next week.
Oh, I love that. Clyde. Dylan's so good.
Oh, he's great. He's great.
All right. Well, thank you again.
Fat ass nurse too. Fat ass Darcy. All the diehards are still here. Heather. Hey, potty mouth Heather Taylor. Look at this. This is beautiful. This is like MJ Maglio. This is all like all home week there, Kim. This is beautiful.
The gang's all here, babe.
Yeah. Reality. One thing to reality check. I did see your question. It looked like it would have been about 20 years ago, about 2000. 2001 when that firefighter got banged out by Brian Albert at J.J. Foley's. About 20 years ago. Around that time.
All right. Well, I wish you a fantastic evening, my friend, and I'll see you on Saturday. Thank you so much for your time, Sean. I love your face.
Listen, and thank you so much for having me on. I love this format. You're easy. You're a great person, and thank you. And I'd like to come on with you and Dave. That'd be awesome too.
Listen, you can't even say that right now because there was a little bit of tension. There was tension in the brother-sister dynamic that he was not like going to be on with us tonight. And I said, Dave, I'll put it on our show. I said, I'll put it on the Nurse Kim and Dave show. And he said, don't you dare. So I'm just kidding. He's giving me a little shit. But, and also one other thing, Sean, is don't ever say that a woman is easy. Okay. I might be a lot of things, but easy is not.
Did I say that? Did I say that?
I hope you meant easy to talk to, but.
Oh yeah, you are. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Easy to talk to. I would never say God, but listen, he called you a broad. I thought you would have take his head off the other night.
Oh no, that's a term of endearment.
Oh, okay. Well, I would never, ever say you're easy there. Oh, but I will say one thing. You got a major, major fan out there that loves you. I'm going to tell you right now, I won't give up the person's name, but you just see some of the texts I get about you there, Miss Kim. Oh my God, this guy loves you. Oh my God. So I said, no, she's happily married with children.
Sir. All right. Thanks again, Sean. Love you. Bye.
Thank you. Be good.
Oh, guys, we have made it through episode 3 of Nurse Kim, and I am so thankful for Mr. Sean McDonough for spending his Thursday evening with us. He always is such like a breath of fresh air for me. I love him. I love to listen to him, and I respect him greatly and his opinion. So I wish you all a wonderful night tonight, and I'll see you guys on Saturday if you're available. Otherwise, I'll be on TikTok. All right. I love your face. Bye.